had a meeting with somebody, so they were like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I want to be iconic, legendary. I don't want to be embarrassed to say it. I have to say it or else it's never going to happen, or I'm going to wait for people's permission and I won't do it. So like, oh, you're looking at like 30 years. I'm like, 30 years? They're like, yeah, to get to like the Cher, the Bet, the Barbara, it takes like 30 years. I'm like, oh, you're talking pre-internet. It's going to take me 5 years.
If you've spent much time on the pop culture side of TikTok, then you've seen Tefi and probably enjoyed her pink-haired big sister energy. Much discourse exists about the contemporary social regard of celebrities as gods, and if there's any truth to that theory, then Tefi is a modern scribe deciding which media stories to mythologize and pass on to newer generations. What I mean is, Tefi's TikTok follows an age-old tradition, oral storytelling. We explore what this means and more with one of social media's most charismatic and curatorial creators. Thank you for being here.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me.
What's your story? How did you get to where you are now?
I was born in Miami, lived in Colombia for a little bit. My mother's Colombian, my father's Brazilian, so we are a dramatic people. I moved to New York. My mom was like, do you want to come back to Miami? And I was like, absolutely not. Everybody runs away to New York. You should live in New York for a while. I was like, I'll be in New York for a year. Now it's been like 9 years. And I started like doing all these side jobs. Like I was a trainer and I was like a personal shopper for a boutique, but I come from I'm a TV family. My mom was like, we're going to Blockbuster. We're getting Crocodile Dundee. So I started getting really into pop culture and I saw the way that people lit up when they talked about pop culture. So all these like side jobs, I realized, like they are just like taking care of people, making people feel comfortable, better about themselves. I worked in marketing and I worked at a production studio. I saw these like really creative, cool people, like successful photographers, stylists, whatever. And I realized that the people that were the most successful or we were like really nervous to have are people who didn't give a fuck about what you thought. So like if you don't get it, that's your problem. Like I have a vision and I know what I like, or like they had a sense of self and they trusted that vision. So more and more I started to be more open on social media. And then I started being more and more on Instagram, and then I got invited by a startup to come and do like a pop culture show. We had a great time and COVID happened, so I was left with a Wi-Fi connection in my apartment for months. So I started doing TikTok and then that's it.
That's like,
was that good?
That was perfect.
Okay.
You got on TikTok during the pandemic like a lot of people did. What has your experience been like?
I know that a lot of people say that TikTok is very toxic.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten to that side of TikTok. The TikTok that I know, it's been really, really great. It's been, I have a good corner. And the people who are trolls, like I'll click on their profile. They're 12, they're like 13. So I'm like, okay, maybe whatever. Or they're women. Actually the meanest people on TikTok, maybe you'll agree, are like middle-aged Midwestern women. Yeah. What did I do to you, Kate? I feel like you too. If somebody says something mean and you don't catch it, people will immediately see it. And you're like, why does this comment have 130 comments?
Yes.
And it's just people like sticking up for you. So my experience has been positive.
Yes.
But unfortunately, there are people who are stupid that have Wi-Fi signal too. So that's the only bad part. TikTok is a weird place. Instagram and all the other apps, I think, are polite enough to talk shit about you in the DMs.
Yes.
That's the thing. This one girl yesterday in Spanish, she was like, Tefi, I used to think you were so fucking annoying and ugly, but now you like, me caes muy bien. Like now I really like you. And I'm like,
oh my gosh.
And in Spanish, I responded, I was like, the way you never had to tell me that.
No, really, I don't know how they formulate this feedback.
You need to fit their narrative and they feel like that you need to know how they feel.
Yeah.
I'm like, Joshua, I could live my whole life without knowing how you fucking feel. But I also like that people are excited to share. I love when my comments look like like a message board. I think that only happens with
Yes.
pop culture though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, the sense of community is the positive side of it, I think, for sure. And the fact that people are really eager to learn and connect and grow in that way. It sounds like pop culture might be the area where that's really happening.
Yeah.
And it brings that out in people.
I'm trying to change the way that people talk about pop culture, not
Yes.
like some like revolutionary thing. I think that the way I absorbed it was like I was using it as a tool to be closer to people.
Yeah.
I was using it to gauge people's like morals and values.
Yes.
Like, or can I talk to you about something? And or maybe people who have been through a trauma.
Yeah.
Like if somebody comes out and says like, well, obviously Britney Spears or Paris Hilton or whoever is lying, you know not to trust that person.
Yeah.
So it's a great gauge, and
Yeah.
I love that about astrology too. Like you're kind of talking about yourself in the third person.
Yeah.
You're not going to say like I'm really sensitive. You
Yes.
say like, well, Pisces are known to be so sensitive.
Right.
So when we talk about issues about women, especially, so many people, like women, will be like, I went through that too, and then I'll see in the comments a girl who's like 14, 15 being like, I'm going through this too, and I'm a sophomore, and then everybody like comes together. I don't see that on other accounts. Being a public figure means being a mirror.
Yeah, and it's good for us to slow down and notice that's a tool. There's something, we had a conversation with one of our interviewees in LA who was describing finding confidence from TikTok actually, and like feeling more connected to her body and herself and her performance of herself, but in a confidence boosting way from being on TikTok. And I'm kind of finding that too.
Okay.
And it's something about having to do the takes and having to like slow down and like figure out how do I express this well. Like it has motivated that.
It's definitely helped with my public
Yeah.
speaking, or like how I
Yeah.
can speak with conviction, but I try not to get attached to it
Yeah.
because I cannot feel good if only the video does well. I like the
Yes.
video. I
Yeah.
like what I said, so it doesn't matter. But what I said about a mirror also means people will only talk to you as much as they like themselves. So
Yeah.
you cannot be attached to that either.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times when I upload a video, no, every single time I upload a video, as soon as a series are done or a video is done, I close my phone. If I weigh the good comments, I have to weigh the bad comments, and I refuse to do either. So I'll just like kind of skim them. I treat it like a coworker.
Yeah.
So I have that boundary.
I can tell you take it seriously. Like you take it seriously as the work that it is. So what's your
I
process
do.
like? Yeah.
I think I feel like I didn't have anybody to talk about like pop culture with when I was younger. I think I want to be somebody that I needed when I was younger. I definitely have a schedule, but that comes with the boundary. If
Yeah.
it's after 9 and I don't have the energy, I'm not going to do it. If I don't have makeup on, but I'm excited about something, I'm going to do the video. And then I don't read a lot of comments. And if I do read comments, I'll pick like, okay, from 3 to 3:30, I'll read comments. And as soon as 3:30 hits, I'm there.
That's smart.
So I tell myself all the time to like, you're always gonna be an 100 follower bitch. Meaning you're gonna stay calm.
Yeah.
Like you're not gonna be nervous, and you are gonna be yourself. Like I hate the word authenticity and transparency because it's like a total fucking buzzword. I definitely wanna be somebody like influential and big and cool, but not a character.
Yeah.
I want it to be myself.
Yes.
And that's why it hurts when people say Tefi sucks. I'm like, well, I'm not pretending to be anybody. It's really me.
That's what is inspiring people. And like when you're bringing that, that's when it's good stuff.
You have to know who the fuck you are.
Yes.
I love to do this. When someone's like, you're stupid, you're wrong, this doesn't make any sense, this is mindless, this is pointless, and for you to say, I disagree, now what? Now what? I don't think so, now what? Oh no. I would never ever think about being like, hi guys, I'm gonna take a social media break because you got me. Like, you know what I mean? When it comes to like the cancel culture thing, I have to live in denial that like I am uncancelable.
Yeah. It's also just the numbers are intimidating a little bit.
We have 100 followers.
That's it. That's what it needs to stay because it is weird to think about.
Somebody told Lady Gaga, I think in her documentary like 5'2" on Netflix, I think, where they were like, what's it like having 80 million followers? And she's like, if you say that again, I'll never be able to post anything. So I gotta put that away. And it's so true.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, I only have 30,000 followers. I'm like, 30,000 people knock on your door right now, you'd be like, I can't do this. Or like you had to talk in front of 30,000 people and you do it all the time without thinking.
Yeah, that's a really interesting way to look at it, to really picture it embodied like that, like physically.
Yeah, but now we're taking it away.
Yeah, exactly.
There's something I love to do, not go to sports events, but when I'm there, I like to look around and be like, I'm in a stadium and every single person here knows who Beyonce is or Britney Spears. Everybody here knows who Britney Spears is. I do not care if you grew up like in a campsite in the outskirts of Utah. You know who that is.
Yeah, the Kardashians.
You know who Kim Kardashian is. It's very humbling at the same time though. Like I remember looking in the mirror one day saying, you're just gonna start telling people that one day you're gonna be paid to be yourself and you're gonna meet everybody that you've always wanted to work with or know. And it's a small group of people. And I used to say, I'm gonna be the Madonna of everything that I do. Like the reinventing, you know, like the always working, always thinking, always creating. I started saying that and saying that and saying that. And then the people that I said that I wanted to be friends with are my friends.
Wow.
It's so weird. So I think I'm gonna quit. I think I'm done.
It's time. That's really amazing. You kind of experience a manifesting kind of narrative.
Is manifesting magic, or is it just saying out loud what you won't settle for less for? I had a meeting with somebody, so they were like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I want to be iconic, legendary. I don't want to be embarrassed to say it. I have to say it or else it's never gonna happen, or I'm gonna wait for people's permission and I won't do it. So like, oh, you're looking at like 30 years. I'm like, 30 years? They're like, yeah, to get to like the Cher, the Bet, the Barbara, it takes like 30 years. I'm like, oh, you're talking pre-internet. It's gonna take me 5 years. I don't have to go on the road. I am the road. Like my phone, I take the road everywhere with me. So
media moving so much faster now, internet and then social media and then the different platforms within social media enable information to move faster. And so that makes careers move faster.
It does get to a point where like you have an audience, right? And you know that your audience responds to certain things, but you also want to talk about the shit that you want to talk about.
Exactly.
So where do you meet in the middle? There are certain things you're like, this is a good fucking point, but how do I sell it? Like, how do I get this to be views? And I feel like I talked to somebody at TikTok and I know how the algorithm works, and it's really just like watchability. Do people want to watch it all the way through?
Totally.
So people are like, what a cliffhanger. I'm like, yeah, bitch. Duh. And then it's if people want to share it. So every single thing that I do, I try to have like a few things that to me, when I was researching or I remember that I was like, can you believables?
The takeaways kind of.
The takeaways.
Yeah.
You got to give them a takeaway.
Yeah.
People need to see themselves in the narratives or benefit something from the narrative.
Yes.
The mirror.
Yeah, the mirror guns. Okay, that brings us to an interesting kind of like how I conceptualize your role on TikTok. And I wrote modern scribe of the aughts era mythology. Yeah.
Remember that.
Or what made you decide to take that on?
It's all that I know. I really think that you have to talk about what you know.
Yes.
If I were to be like on ESPN tonight, you'd be like, this person has never seen a baseball in her life. And I have. I just haven't touched one. But there are so many things about movies and pop culture where I really feel comforted by, but also like connected more because of social media, because in the movies were always cool. But watching a movie and knowing that like Blake Lively was going through a breakup, I'm like, she still pulled through. She went to work. We really gotta absorb this. Like it's there's so much layer to it.
Yeah.
So now we get real time updates. So you know what's going on. So you feel so connected. It really, when I say culture, celebrity culture is a culture, especially with the rise of reality TV.
Yes.
Seeing normal people, and we just like put them in the microwave.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, now spin. You know, we watch it happen.
Yeah.
And YouTube stars,
yes.
like normal fucking kids. Yeah. Normal, or you and me.
Yeah, yeah.
Reality TV, like I feel like we're betting against them all the time. Like my mom watches Real Housewives, she's like, I would never do that. But we love an underdog too.
Yes.
So like we want to hold their face in the mud and then watch them like fight us off and be like, okay, you got us. Yeah. All the time. And the Kardashians especially.
Yes. Why do you think we love an underdog?
I think it's because we see the cards stacked. What is it? Like 0.001% of people become like actually like A-list famous. Yeah. And especially like there comes an age where you're like, oh fuck, I don't think I'm gonna be a rock star. It's hard for us to watch other people do the things that we want to do. The mirror thing again. Like we see these people, we don't want them to do as well because we think it should have been us in some regard. Do you notice on TikTok too, a lot of people will talk about how great, I would never do that. It's like very much, they want people to know that they are good people. Or when people are like when they're like super hard about it, I'm like, something's weird. Something's off. Like you're trying to prove something. Why are you trying to tell us how good you are? Yes. Like good people don't have to tell you that they're good, you know? There's
a lot of like performance of goodness on the internet, I think now. And I think it's maybe driven by fear of the numbers.
Being called out or something? Yeah. It gives me horse girl energy. Yeah. Did you know that horses, I'm like, Angelica. That was the girl, that was the horse girl in my class. I'm so sorry. Angelica, you ran on all fours. What do you want me to do? On her knuckles.
Wait, she would like act like a horse?
Yes! And she goes, nah. And I'm like, this is too much. Horse girls are crazy. You know what's worse? A horse girl is annoying, but a dolphin girl will tell the teacher that you forgot to pick up the homework.
By being this sort of oral historian of this era, you are helping to decide what's remembered. It's all there like as hard facts in the documentation of it, but the like kind of like formality of oral history is that you're pairing knowledge and information with emotion. So you're like the channel that's kind of like describing with emotion what happened, what you think is worth telling about.
There are so many things that I'm like, if you're gonna talk about one thing, if you're gonna talk about this, you gotta talk about the whole fucking thing.
Right.
And we're gonna do it.
Right.
I feel powerful where I can say like, and then this happened and we loved it. Don't you think that's fucked up?
Right, because you are reminding or you are like helping shed light on forgotten stuff. Like we need the people that will pull that out.
And make sense of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I try to remove shame from it too because like respect them, but can we give people a fucking break?
It's fun and it's interesting
fun.
and it's narrative.
And you get to talk about them like they're your friends.
Yes.
Me and Cher. I think on TikTok, I'm there because I want to comfort and I want to make people laugh.
Yeah.
But I do want to be on camera and talk about pop culture because it's what I love. What do you want to do? Like, what role-wise on TikTok? Not like to be a writer, but
to challenge people to study more, research more, think more critically, and to model thinking more critically. You know what I mean? I want people to be more exposed to media theory, so that's my thing. But and also a more authentic way than some of the virtue signaling that people do online too. Like I also want to cut through that and like be earnest.
I know.
And mindful.
I tell people like every 6 months I do a video where I tell people I have cheated on boyfriends. I have been a shitty best friend. I've been a shitty friend. I've been a shitty daughter.
Yeah.
I'm in no way perfect. When I do fuck up, because it is inevitable, I'm a human being and I'm doing this for the first time. I'm going to fuck up. I don't want people to be like, how could she?
Yeah.
You know, I want the people to be like, well, she's doing the best she can. And then it can turn into a conversation about like, what's that thing where it's like, if you Google pickles are good for you, you'll see why it's good for you. But if you Google pickles are bad for you, you'll see why pickles are bad for you. Like you can go into that part of the internet too, where it's like, I looked for why this was right and I found it, you know?
Yes, that confirmation bias.
That's what it is. Those things are super interesting, especially with like people.
Yeah.
There are things that people have not done or said, but because of pop culture and the internet, I can find a way where they did.
Yes.
I'm scaring myself.
No, it is this, it's a simulation we live in, kind of. That is like where it gets us to that point.
When I'm meditating, I'm like, am I meditating to the universe and planet Earth and to my chakras, or am I telling the people that are in charge of my computer, being like, she wants ice cream. Give her ice cream, you know, like my Sims character.
Yes.
Is my person controller watching me being like, wow, she hasn't had a sip of water in a long time, should we? And I'm like,
Totally.
when I get paid, it's like rosebud, semicolon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Two things. One, for me, I'm like, fuck it. If somebody's in control, I'm gonna do my best to please them, and I'm gonna try to make this as rock and roll as possible.
That's exactly
That's
what I say.
perfect.
That's my philosophy.
I feel
think we
doable.
are in a simulation,
Yeah.
and I'm like, that's how you play the game. You play it to kind of its maximum ability.
And the other part of it is like, if you want to free me and give me the red pill, let me have a little fun here first, and then unplug me. You know what I mean? When I was in 10th grade, I had a mental breakdown because I had a dream, and I'm a very vivid dreamer. I had this nightmare where I woke up and I was in a hospital, and I could see like the beeping, and like I could hear the beeping. I could see I was in a hospital. I looked down at my feet, and I was in this like the hospital socks with like the weird grips. And a nurse comes in, and she's like, she's awake, and she's like, I'm gonna call your family, sweetie. And I go, oh my God, what happened? And I can hear my voice, but I'm like, oh, I must have not spoken for a while because this doesn't sound like me. So then my people come in, and they're like, oh my God, and they're like, sweetie, you're awake. And I'm like, when is my family coming? And they're like, I'm your mom. I'm like, you're not my mom. And they're like, sweetie, you have been in a coma for like 3 or 4 months. And I was like, what happened? They're like, you were in a car accident. And she was like, I'm your mom, and this is your dad, and this is your brother and your sister. I'm like, you guys aren't my family. And they're like, yes, you are. Your brain, while you were asleep, needed to stay active, so it created a reality for you. I'm like, my mom is, I get goosebumps. My mom is Maria Jose Vanegas Pessoa, and as I'm talking, I look at my hands, and they're not my hands.
Oh, I just got
And they're not my hands, and I'm looking at them, and they're like, sweetheart, it's gonna be okay. And I woke up screaming because
Oh my God.
because they're telling me it's gonna be okay, because I'm saying I want to go back, and I closed my eyes and I woke up in my room, so I didn't know if I went back into my coma.
Oh my God.
So I have the worst goosebumps. I'm telling you, I woke up and I was like, I need you to hit me in my face. And they were like, no. And I was like, I need you to hit me in my face. And my mom was like, no. no. But that to me, I was like, fuck it. If I'm in this coma and I can do whatever, I must be. And at this point, I'm 31 in this fucking coma. Either they pulled the plug or I'm in this room. So I'm gonna do the best that I can, because one day they're gonna wake me up and I'm gonna have to deal with that. So right now, I'm just gonna do what I can.
Well, we're all with you in this coma.
Well, literally, I made you up.
Yeah.
But anyway, I love TikTok.
Yeah. Okay, well, actually, in honor, one more thought I have about TikTok and you telling these stories on TikToks is that oral history is communal and social media is meant to be a community. So it's like you are the storyteller to a community that you've built.
Oh my God, I love that. I think of like Neopets, or in a video game when you're like the shopkeeper. Like everybody has a role.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. And like in communities, there's tends to be an oral historian. Like through time, like oral history has lasted through changing media like forever, since the beginning of time. So it's like a really special role to play.
Do you think that if you were part of this, like, well, you are, but on this TikTok simulation world, if there was a university, you'd be one of the professors?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I'm the professor.
In the sim world.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not a storyteller. I'm definitely a professor.
Oh my God.
Do you think that being like on the internet and engaging in this way also like deepens your sense of the simulation in a way? Because the deeper I go onto this rabbit hole, like the more I'm like, oh, it's real.
Absolutely. Actually, an Aquarius kind of gave me one of my mental breakdowns once too, because I was talking to them and I said, isn't it crazy that like we're getting so advanced in technology that all it would take at the end is like if somebody like unplugged us or we ran out of battery and civilization would be lost or whatever. And they were like, oh yeah, that's probably happened a few times. And I was like,
what a good Aquarius.
What a bitch. I was like, we're at a music festival. The theory that my friend was telling me, she's like, the digital war of it. And we end ourselves, and it's all humanity's like probably stored on something or plugged in somewhere, and we just lose it, and we start over. And then those ruins, her theory is that those ruins are ruins of like cities and human civilizations.
And we just made up, we don't know. We're just like going based on those like relics and creating ideas of what it was. This is why oral history is so relevant, because documents can be destroyed, internet can be destroyed, but what people pass on verbally is like really valuable.
In a million years, somebody's gonna see the Statue of Liberty and wonder if it was a church.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, and then like, what do they worship? Like, who was that? Yeah, they wouldn't understand that it's a symbol of this. Yeah,
it was this woman, Hillary Clinton. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're just gonna try to piece it together.
Pieces.
What if they find access to TikTok, and they're like, oh, this app was so popular, and they open it, it's like part 1, Brangelina and Brad.
Okay, my friend Matteo one time was like, what if the Bible was just like fanfic of somebody's, and that's just the only physical book we found, so we're like, that's the origin
and now
story.
gays are bad.
Right, exactly.
Now gays are bad.
No, they're gonna find the TikTok and be like, oh yeah, like Jen and Brad were like God.
Oh, they worship the Brad.
Yeah.
It's like Jesus with his hands up and it's Brad Pitt. I'd be so pissed.
I do think that the Kardashians are so global and centralized and like entrenched now that if it were all to like disintegrate, they might be what's left of like an understanding of pop culture. They've made themselves that. You know what I mean?
1000%. And Paris Hilton would be turning in her urn.
Yeah, she would.
Turning.
Okay, final question.
Tell me.
Which one of your TikToks are you most surprised blew up?
Brad and Brangelina. So it started because somebody commented and said, Tefi, I'm 16. I didn't know that Brad Pitt was married before Brangelina, and I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? So I responded and I was like, okay, I'll make a video when I get back to New York. So I landed back in New York after Miami, and I made a video, and I finished the series. It was like 10 parts, and I was like, and I saw that people were like kind of being mean to Brangelina, and I was like, I'll make an Brangelina series tomorrow. And I closed the app, and when I opened the app, every single video got 1 million views. And I was like, what? So I was like, I can't believe it. And then people were like, more series, more series, more series, more series. And then that week, I got 600,000 followers.
Oh my God. Wow. I didn't know that people didn't know that he was married before Brangelina. Like, that was such a big deal for
somebody
like
commented.
Our lives.
No, somebody commented and said, is it true that Britney dated Justin Timberlake?
Oh my God.
I can count to 10, and Britney dated Justin Timberlake. Insanity. So what are they teaching in school?
And then what kind of stories does your audience care the most about?
I think the ones where everything turns out to be okay. I think that's why I like to watch, when I was a kid, I like to watch like VH1 Behind the Music, because you can see that life is long and it usually ends up okay. So I think that's what people like the most. And these stories are from 10 years ago, and shit hits the fan sometimes. But even with Lindsay Lohan, she's okay. Misha Barnes okay, you know, like all these people.
Yeah.
And I think it's a nice reminder to people that sometimes shitty things happen, but it doesn't mean that you have to have a shitty life.
Yes.
It's like fables.
Yes.
Yeah, when I was in elementary school, I went to Sunset Elementary, go Phoenix, and there's a storyteller that would come to school once a year, and they'd refill up the auditorium with every class, and she would tell a story, and she wouldn't use a microphone, so we were all so quiet, and I remember thinking, that's what I want to do, and it's because of her. Her name was Elizabeth. I'll never forget her. She came every year, and I was in that school for 5 years, and she would talk about like, and then the rabbit whispered, and we all go like this, and I was like, I want to do that, and that's what I do.
It's formative.
Huh? I don't think I've ever talked about that.
Okay, Shell, what are we doing right now?
We're gonna go look at vintage.
Oh my god, we almost got hit by a bus.
We're gonna go look at vintage tabloids.
No, we're gonna try to. We don't actually know if we're gonna be successful, but we're gonna stop at a few places that we think might have
them.
old magazines. By vintage, we mean like early 2000s.
Early odds.
Tabloids. It's on Lorimer. Can you look it up?
Oh, I have a bad feeling about this already.
Why?
Oh, we're getting catcalled right now.
Oh, stop. Does it exist? Does not look promising. Okay, so it's by appointment. Look at.
But you know what? It's not our fucking fault. We tried calling many times. All right.
It's a big false start here.
Total false start. That's okay though, because we still are doing this. Let me put on my voice memos and we're just gonna talk to bitches.
Sounds good.
All right, ready? It's wild.
Do you want to work your match?
I don't have any match. What is your favorite pop culture story of like the last 20 years?
I don't have one.
Why is that?
I don't think I was interested in tabloids. Unless you mean like The Queen's a Lizard. Like, is that a tabloid?
I remember being in high school, my English teacher like showing us a picture of Britney and just like rolling his eyes and saying like how stupid she was. And I think just like back then it was like very unheard of to talk about like mental health. And like that's why I spoke about like I want to shave my head this week. I've been going through some shit. So
It's like a symbol for it.
Yeah. Now I feel like it's more spoken about, where back then it was just kind of like she was just being looked at as someone who was crazy.
I don't know why, but Kanye West is coming to mind just because like he's always doing something crazy. It's like I love him, I miss the old Kanye, but I can't not love the new Kanye either, just because like once you love old Kanye, you have to love new Kanye.
Oh my god. Well, that brings us to the next question really well. What do you think we're going to be telling our kids about pop culture now?
I don't know. I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is just like the Kanye.
Yeah, that's the only thing that comes to
Kanye,
mind.
Kim, Julia collab. What a publicity stunt. It's like so smart.
No, PR at its finest.
Kanye and Kim, this whole thing going on right now. Probably just the Kardashians.
I was just thinking about Kanye because I was thinking about Kanye and I'm thinking about him and Kim and how they broke up and how that was just so crazy, and like now Kanye's onto his next muse.
The Kanye and Kim thing.
Kim and Kanye, like that's sad that like women, even though they have that much money, they're still harassed by men.
It's pretty sad like what he's going through too, and like I feel like there's also like mental health issues there. I mean like hopefully we'll learn from it now and like not have to wait like 10 years for down the line.
As we did with Britney.
Exactly.
Also, I love that like you're selling like Y2K like clothes while we talk about this. Do you have a business that we can like shout
Yeah,
out?
my business is called Soulful Threads.
Okay.
I'm like in the process of trying to open up my own studio. I do like all things creative, photo shoots, styling, all of that. So hit me up.
That doesn't look comfortable. Oh.
What's your favorite nostalgic pop culture story from the past?
I don't even know what that means.
Bald Britney.
Yes, those like moments that we all reflect
Those like
on.
big cultural moments.
I don't follow that
Yeah,
kind of
me
stuff.
neither.
Yeah, sorry, I don't
That's
I don't
okay.
follow.
Thank you. That's okay.
She had like an Aaliyah 94 hat on. So where are we going now?
The magazine place you found, or I found, but you said we should go to. I knew I would regret wearing these shoes, but at the same time,
They're like cute. You gotta wear that to the TikTok party.
Right.
Oh yeah, to like for the cherry on top of like this whole video. This is all leading up to like a TikTok party. I like that. Me?
Yeah. So someone just tagged me in a tabloid thing.
Oh my god, look at that. Relevant.
There used to be a mac and cheese place.
Michelle, you're like running into traffic. I know, sorry. Here we are.
Iconic magazines, very good, well named for the theme.
Let's try.
Okay.
Yeah, this is like overwhelming actually.
You know, by any chance have like older magazines, like from the 90s, from the 2000s? No?
Oh.
That's okay. Do you know where we could go to find them?
There is a one bookstore at the
Mulberry and Prince Street.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
Thanks so much. What do you think we're gonna look back on in 20 years to now? Like, what are our
And be like, whoa.
Yeah.
Influencer culture.
Yeah, influencer culture. Yeah.
Like all of that. We're gonna hit the postmodern of influencers eventually,
Where the
right?
people are gonna be
Yeah,
like,
so-
why is this like still a
Yeah.
thing almost?
I would say Kanye, in a way. Kanye definitely touched the whole world, from his clothing to his music. He says it wrong, but he has the right idea, you know what I'm saying? So
People qualify Kanye the way they qualify the Kardashian discussions too. I'm having fun because it's so interesting.
Party.
Were they talking about McNally Jackson? Because if that's the case, like that means nothing to us.
All right, let's go to dinner then.
I followed down the stairs of McNally Jackson once though, and it was really funny.
You fell down the stairs?
Yeah, we're having fun. Now it's like we know that people are going to answer Kanye. What I really am seeing truly is that it's never been easier to get people to talk about social media and how it affects us and how it changes than when you ask about pop culture.
Gloss Lab.
What are your favorite nostalgic like pop culture stories from the past? Like from the past, like
from the past.
Yeah.
Aaliyah and Jay-Z.
What's the
Hi,
question?
welcome.
Oh yes, hello everyone.
Like Lady Gaga meat dress. Lady Gaga meat dress.
Ours is much older than that. Kurt Cobain.
Oh no, you know the best is when we met Boy George at a party. For
Oh
a
yes,
friend
I
of mine.
did.
God,
And he was so shy.
Britney. Definitely a lot of the shit that happened with like Hollywood in the past few years with Me Too and Harvey Weinstein and comedians and all that.
In 20 years, what are we going to be nostalgic about?
Megan Fox.
I'm gonna say Courtney. I'm gonna say Courtney and Travis Baker.
For
sure.
Kim and Pete
Davidson.
That's
That's a big deal because of course Kim's being, queen of everything right now, and every relationship she had has always been dissected. And she's kind of in the lead of having her career.
Team Kanye.
She's almost
But the Kardashians
I remember
should be
Jennifer
studied.
Aniston and Brad Pitt.
They're back together, so that's tea.
Good one.
You can put me on that.
Definitely all the Kanye, Pete Davidson, Kim shit going on right now. That's one thing. I haven't kept up with it too much, but like even without keeping up with it, I know so much about it.
It's kind of like shitty pop songs that you don't listen to, but you somehow know the words to.
Yeah.
Rihanna being allergic to clothes with a baby bump. She has no clothes and a baby bump.
I saw it somewhere. Someone's like, Rihanna invented being pregnant. And it's like, yes.
A truly iconic pregnancy.
Yes.
All right.
Oh, there we go.
I hope that was good.
Oh yeah. I don't think you care about the other magazine shop.
No, I don't care about that. We're just in the direction of the party now.
Oh, so we're not going there.
No, I don't think it's going to be any good. It's whatever.
Okay, we're not gonna go to the third place we were gonna go to.
No.
I mean, this has been a real journey. Now we're on our way to the TikTok party. And what's that mean, really?
Who are we going to look back on in 20 years and be like, that was like iconic. That was an era. This celebrity defined the time.
It's like a tick. Probably say Britney Spears.
Yes.
Oh, definitely Britney Spears, yeah.
when Britney went crazy, that was a sad moment for me. But she's good now, right?
Yeah.
Kesha, too. I don't know.
Yes.
Kesha just like brings me back.
And J-Lo. People like Aaliyah. Obviously Destiny's Child's like
Justin
Beyonce.
Timberlake.
Who are the celebrities, the famous people that we're going to be like, that defined our time in pop culture? Oh, okay.
And I think that people are gonna be looking back at like on Kanye West. I don't know, like Kim
Kanye
Kardashian.
West, definitely the Kardashians, Travis Scott.
Right.
The whole
People who have,
Kardashian
like,
family.
issues.
Why do you think that is?
I feel like there's a lot of conflict that surrounds them. They make a lot of choices that are
also,
probably more for publicity.
They're just everywhere, and they just have so much money.
Oh my god! This is where Kevin and I had our first date.
I feel like I knew that somehow.
Literally in those booths. That's where we had that's where it all started. It really wasn't. It was the least romantic first date of all time.
Look at that head. What's the head about?
Showbiz, baby.
What about in 20 years? What are we going to think of this time? Who are we going to remember? What are we going to tell our kids about? Like, oh, this shit is crazy.
Euphoria, Britney Spears. And I think that we're going to be reflecting on the fact that the 90s was revived during this time too.
Avril
Lavigne.
Is she dead? Is she alive? We don't know. The two queens that always deserve all the attention.
Of course.
Beyonce,
Yep.
Lady Gaga,
Yep.
everything,
Of course.
always.
I think the Kardashians
Yes.
will never be forgotten.
No, never. As much as I hate to say it, it's gonna be Kim and Kanye.
They have wax figures.
Yeah.
All right, we got our wine. We're ready for our TikTok party.
We learned a lot about how people feel about the moment in time that we live in.
Yes.
We learned a lot about... Hi. But we're here.
Okay, love you.
Do you want to do, is it
You already answered this question. Have you ever experienced a glitch in the simulation?
Oh my God, yeah. When I woke up from my coma.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm gonna throw up. I'm gonna upset.
What's your personal brand?
Like if I had to elevator pitch myself, I'm a comforting person that holds you accountable, and I'm gonna hug you afterwards. I'm Fran Fine. Hello.
Which Kardashian are you?
Fuck. I think about this all the fucking time. Okay, so I have them in, I watch their interviews and I try to figure them out, right? So like, shy people are confused for being rude, and anxious people are confused for being defensive. Kendall's very defensive. So I'm like, okay, she's nervous, she's anxious. And I think that she feels like everything that she gets said on social media gets misconstrued, so she takes the opportunity to say it and it comes off really aggressive, right? So she's anxious. So I don't think I'm like that. I think I'm a better communicator. Kylie, I think, was somebody really confident and really funny, but I don't think she wants to be as famous as she is. So I don't think I'm Kylie. I don't think I'm Courtney, because I wear deodorant with aluminum. Oh, fuck. So I think I'm either Kim or Chloe. I want to say that I'm Kim because everybody says that Kim's superpower is calmness. But Chloe, I think, is somebody that if you fucked up, she'll say, like, we can have a sleepover and I got your favorite candy, but you cannot fuck me over. And I see a lot of myself. And with the men that she dates, I think it's hard to see somebody who like really believes that you can do better. And I believe that I think people are inherently good. So I do see myself a lot in Chloe. But Chloe is the ugliest dresser I've ever seen in my fucking life. Está horrenda. Like, why is she wearing peplum tops? So it's very weird. So I want to say I'm a Kim. But the way that Chris has fun, I love that. I think I'm Chris. I'm Chris. The strategy though, my manager says I have to strategize better, and I said no. Maybe I am a Kim. Guys, I'm a tacky Kim Kardashian control freak. I'm North. That's who I am. I'm North. That's who I am.
Thank you for spending your time with us. This is a great time.
Yay! I need to eat this salad. I've been staring at it.
I know.
I need to eat the salad.
We need to be better at
being like salad time.
Salad time.